From a secret Buzz Lightyear glitch to a way to level up brawlers even faster, these are 208 amazing Brawl Stars facts you need to know. I absolutely hate it when my teammates don't work together in Brawl Ball. So, the next time your teammate is right by the enemy goal, pass them the ball instead of trying to walk it in yourself. Because, let's be real, most of the time you'll mess it up and then your whole team will be mad at you. Wait, someone's knocking on my door. If Kit pops up on the screen as you're entering a match, he's guaranteed to spawn right next to you. My advice? Run in the right direction as fast as you can. Ah, Kit! Teammates who expect you to grab the power cubes that are right beside them are so annoying. In Duo Showdown, if there's a cube right next to you, just pick it up. Seriously, it's that simple. And then they wonder why the other team shows up with 10 power cubes and wipes us out. Everyone hates the play again button, especially when there's a quest for it. If you're a real Brawl Stars player, you probably just avoid that button like it's an Edgar and just go back to the lobby before hitting play again. Honestly, Supercell should just delete the play again button. Have you ever lost a match in gem grab because you gave every single gem to the enemy team? This happened because you didn't follow one simple rule. When you have 7 gems or more, just camp at the back. Even if you play with the best tank brawler like El Primo, you're probably just gonna mess it up. But that would never happen to me because I'm the best El Primo. And I lost the match. Map Maker maps are usually fun and a great addition to Brawl Stars. But here's the unspoken rule. If you lose the match, you have to hit that dislike button. And if you win, you go ahead and like the map. That's the real Brawl Stars democracy. Everyone knows that the next new brawler is going to be overpowered. And if you believe this is an accident, well, you're totally wrong. Because it seems Supercell uses early access brawlers as a way to make some quick money. However, as time progresses, the brawler gets magically recognized by Supercell as unfair and they fix their mistakes. Kind of sus if you ask me. But according to Supercell moderator Adrian, this is completely unintentional. Did you know leaving the game after losing a match will make you avoid losing trophies? Okay, that's a complete lie. But some new players actually believe this. It gets worse though, as if you do this too early in a competitive match, you could even experience low reputation and a ban on rank. Knowing this may save you your next Brawl Ball match. Objects usually stop the ball in place when it collides, but the same doesn't apply for turrets. Many players think placing the turret right before your goal will stop the ball or make it bounce, but in reality, the ball will phase right through it. And the same applies for pets as they can't interact with the ball either. If that was possible, I would just equip my pet Ronaldo. Tick's head is one ability everyone believes it's impossible to avoid, and some players even think Tick's super can damage you in the air. If you take Tick's head and another brawler and make them jump using jump pads at the same time, it would ultimately cause the whole Brawl Stars server to collapse. Okay, not exactly, but they would pass by one another and Tick's head wouldn't even notice. Cordelius's Shadow Realm can be the most annoying thing ever. However, some Nitas believe that their hero Bruce will come in to save the day. Nita mains can't get Bruce into the realm, but hopefully he'll beat Cordelius for them. So to boost chances of survival for Bruce, players would spam Healing Bear gadget thinking it's going to do a magic thing. But in reality, Bruce didn't heal even for 1 HP and was probably killed. I think we probably shouldn't mess with Cordelius's shroom. I bet you didn't know that creator codes actually expire. Yep, when you enter a code to support your favorite content creator, it only lasts for 7 days. After that, it just disappears, and you are not supporting anyone anymore, unless you re-enter the code. If you ever poked around in the Brawl Stars settings, you might have noticed that one option is missing, the Facebook Connect button. This feature used to help players find their Facebook friends who also played Brawl Stars, making it easier to team up. But let's be honest, only boomers use Facebook, so it's no surprise Supercell decided to get rid of it. Hey, how do you expect me to add my friends now? El Primo had a face reveal. In case you didn't know, in an official Brawl Stars animation, there's a scene where RT sneaks into El Primo's room just as he's taking off his mask, and when he finally removes it, his face is blurred. However, you can actually see that El Primo has a mustache under the mask. I guess it's time for me to start growing one too. Speaking of masks, a lot of players think Griff is actually a robot because of that mask, but if you look closely, there is a hole in his gloves that shows his skin, and if you peek under his mask, there's also a neck there. So yeah, Griff is totally human. Did you catch this limited edition spike trick? In the Angels vs Demons event, they introduced power-ups, and while they seemed pretty standard, the Fire Path power-up caused chaos chaos. This is because Spike's star power let him heal on his super, and it applied to the fire path too. So while he was moving, he was literally invincible. But a few hours later, Supercell stepped in and disabled Spike. In one of the minor 2024 updates, Brawl Stars introduced this cool feature. Whenever you change the skin on a brawler, it will show the background from the collection it was first introduced in. This also sparked some ideas, and players have been suggesting that it should be available default skins based on which part of the trio they belong to. For example, Tick should have a pirate themed background since he's part of a pirate trio. Mo is a cool little mouse, and you probably know that, but did you know there's even a cooler reference in this voice line? Here's what I mean.
Sanitation rocks the nation!
You probably recognize this as it is referencing the song Party Rock Anthem. However, I think true inspiration comes from an old YouTube video of this guy shoveling. What do you think? You've probably never noticed that Supercell actually slips in a ton of references to famous shows and games on their social media. They've done artwork inspired by The Matrix and even Spider-Man. And who knows, maybe all these little hints mean we'll get some real collabs with those series in the future. What happens if you aim Frank's attack, then quickly flick his aim into another direction? He'll still face that way, but the attack will land behind you, in the direction you first aimed. This also works for his super too, making his attacks become totally unpredictable and the perfect way to throw your enemies off guard. Like every new brawler, Shade is kind of broken. In case you missed it, he's an epic brawler from the Halloween update and is literally a ghost. But players discovered something that's never happened in Brawl Stars before. Shade's super sends him into a different dimension where he speeds up and can pass through walls. But it gets even crazier. His speed actually stacks up to infinity. It gets so fast that the servers can't even handle it, and it entirely crashes the game. Speaking of new brawlers, Halloween just brought us Juju. She's got some insane abilities like walking on water, changing her attack style based on the environment, and even having a pet that attacks for her. But apparently she absolutely fails the skull test, and she only popped 13 skulls. That's rock bottom on the skull breaking leaderboard. Max's hypercharge is ridiculously fast, so fast that he should be faster than a ball. Let's jump into a match, activate her hypercharge and super, and pass the ball. Max is not just as fast as the ball. She is so insanely fast that she passes the ball to herself. You can literally see her outrunning it. Myth confirmed. Jean can pull Jesse's turret? So there's Jesse's turret, and now I'll activate Jean's super, and voila! It really worked. Myth is confirmed. However, this is without a doubt a fantastic way to get yourself killed. Rushing with Shelly is the most common mistake players make, and you should avoid it completely. This is because most of the time, you'll just get demolished by other ranged brawlers. Instead, what you should do is prioritize approaching tanky short-range brawlers since she's an anti-tank brawler. Also, be sure to never camp in bushes or your IP address might end up on someone's list. Bruce should eat enemy bullets. Pause. Let me explain. Most needed players throw their super anywhere as soon as they get it, and this usually ends up with Bruce dying instantaneously without contributing to your match. However, a much better way to use him is to literally make him your meat shield when getting shot at by non-piercing projectiles. In other cases, where you're facing AoE or piercing attacks, try throwing Bruce right beside your enemy, and now he'll be a distraction, letting you get away. Auto-aim has to be one of the most common mistakes new players make. I know I've mentioned this before, but unless you're being chased, auto-aiming with long-range brawlers like Colt will make you miss nearly every shot. Also, make sure to strafe when shooting moving targets, and you're on a good path to being a pro. Just like me. Never mind. If you're playing Bull, then stop dying in 3 seconds. In other words, when you choose a Bull to play a match, don't rush to the center with your super thinking you have enough health, because trust me, you don't. The most annoying thing you can do in Brawl Stars is probably to break defense walls. This will certainly make players hate you, and I know you're going to say, but Balootic, it was an accident. Well, you were too. Okay, jokes aside, when you're playing with Brock and Brawl Ball, for example, try to avoid using your super on your team side, because chances are you're just going to lose. Instead of scrolling through your entire brawler collection to find your favorite assassin or damage dealer, imagine if you could just filter by class. This would make picking the right brawler way faster, and you wouldn't run out of time mid-search. And I'm out of time. Recently, Supercell has been super generous with free rewards. Oh, hypercharge! Boy, hold on. Before you get too excited, there's a catch. You can't just claim that sweet free Shelly hypercharge unless you've already maxed her out. And what's even worse is the free tag on the shop icon that'll just sit there and taunt you until the offer disappears. However, players came up with this genius idea. Instead of getting a free hypercharge that we can't claim, we should get hypercharged drops. Sounds perfect, right? Well, Supercell doesn't agree. brawlers. In ranked, you always get to see the map and mode before the match starts, and if it's hot zone or heist, someone has to pick a thrower. These modes are literally made for thrower brawlers, and it makes a huge difference if you or a teammate pick someone like Tick or Barley, because if you don't, the enemy team definitely will, and now you're stuck playing against a brawler you can't ultimately reach. If you're jumping into a ranked match, don't use it as a chance to test out that new brawler you just got. In ranked, it's all about winning. So if you see your teammate picking their maxed out brawler with a hypercharge, and you pick out a level 4 brawler you're excited to try, you're just asking for trouble, and you'll probably lose the match. Casual modes exist for a reason, okay? Wow, what a nice day. I hope nothing ruins it. Oh, great. If you're an Edgar main, players will probably see you as the biggest noob out there. Nobody likes Edgar. And if you eliminated me with him, I bet your address has shown up in my Google search history a few times already. Everyone hates that one player that goes AFK. Seriously, being AFK for even 2 seconds in a 3v3 match can be the reason your team loses. So just don't do it. But Balootic, I'm playing on my phone. I can't be away from the keyboard. When daily rewards reset, you've got to do this. The moment you're in, check for new quests, then head to the game mode selection screen and tap like crazy to reveal all those modes and grab some XP. I love pressing buttons. Doug mains love their hot dogs. Pause. But here's the thing. While they spam Doug super like crazy, thinking it'll save them from any situation, there's one thing they still don't get. His hot dog super can't actually revive you in the storm. You'll just get a flying glizzy on screen and die instantly. If someone told you Supercell has realistic gameplay mechanics, they're way off with this one. Gene's super usually pulls enemies right to him, but if Gray's portal is in the mix, well, Gene's hand just flies right over the portal, and the enemy gets pulled straight into the portal and teleported away. Supercell should definitely add some portal mechanics to make this make sense. Otis is a fun brawler to play, especially with his mute ability that shuts down other brawlers' powers, but a lot of Otis mains think they can mute Sam, and that once he's muted, he won't be able to pick up his knuckles from the floor. Well, he totally can, but hey, at least he can't use them, right? Everyone knows Gus's super can be pretty handy when it comes to giving extra shields.
But did you know you can actually use it on anything with health, like pets or turrets?
So much for helping out your Nita bear. If you're playing Tick, you probably love spamming his super. That chasing, exploding head can be terrifying, but some players believe you can spawn 2 heads at once. However, if you try to do that, the first head explodes and then the second one appears, so it's completely false. The only time we ever saw multiple heads at once was during the Godzilla event, where Tick could summon 3 heads at the same time. Now that was truly scary.
Fang and Buster actually have swapped hitboxes. As we know, Fang is an assassin and he somehow has the tank-sized hitbox, while Buster, who's supposed to be a tank, is stuck with a regular one. Looks like someone at Supercell might have swapped a few things around when making them. Bull isn't using all of his holes. Pause, let me explain. His attack is called double barrel, but if you look closely, he's literally holding a triple barrel shotgun. Just imagine the damage he could do if he used all 3 barrels. This might actually mean Bull's going easy on other brawlers. I bet you forgot about the top dog modifier in Showdown. It added an ultimate new rule. There is no automatic health regen. The only way to heal was by playing a healing brawler or by taking out an enemy and grabbing the hot dog they dropped. However, the thing that you probably missed is if you won, instead of seeing you are the winner, it would say you are the wiener. So technically, you weren't the top dog. You were a hot dog. When you start a match in Brawl Ball, did you know the order of your icons actually determines where you'll spawn? If your icon is on the right, you'll spawn on the right side. However, this only applies to the first spawn and after scoring a goal. Ever wondered why Dynamite has a canary under his hat? Well, there's actually a pretty dark backstory to it. Miners used to carry canaries with them to detect carbon monoxide levels, and if the bird fainted or worse, it meant danger was near. So yeah, this poor canary might not be Dynamite's best friend after all.
Please stop dying. Of course, nobody goes into a Brawl Stars game trying to die as much as possible. Well, except for every random I've ever teamed with. But if you look at the pro players game, you'll see they die way less than a normal player, even if they're losing. I absolutely love El Primo, but sometimes I need to accept that he's not the best brawler to pick. When you want to win your ranked games, you need to make sure your brawlers work well together. But drafting isn't just about picking the strongest brawlers. Every pro player knows that you need a balance of movement speed, range, health, damage, and CC in order to win a competitive match. So El Primo it is. Sometimes I'll lose a match and wonder what the heck just happened, but that's why watching your own replays is one of the best ways to improve. This is why just about every pro spends a lot of time replaying their games so they can see their own mistakes and learn from them. However, looking at replays can be risky, especially when you see your teammates completely whiffing their supers. You probably know that Kit can't go over water, but what if he hijacked a teammate who can, like Daryl? Well, if Kit hops onto Daryl and he uses his barrel roll to cross water, Kit will actually drop off mid-roll. But here's the crazy part. Daryl still keeps Kit's healing ability after the drop-off. This is literally Bluetooth healing. Being in bushes makes you invisible, but what happens if you're flying over them? Well, try using Janet with her super, which lets her fly and toss bombs from above. If you activate her super while in a bush, Janet actually flickers between visible and invisible. She's hidden until she drops a bomb, then reappears every time one hits the ground. Leon could definitely take a few notes from her. Every brawler has an idle animation when you're not moving, but apparently Spike doesn't. So if I jump into a match, stop moving, he shouldn't have any animation. And yep, it's true. Spike just stands there, completely still, like a real cactus. No movement, nothing. Honestly, it's kind of creepy. Players often claim it's impossible to exceed 16,000 HP without power cubes, but here's how we can bust that myth. Ruff's field promotion star power increases the max HP of nearby allies every second. So, if Frank, with his base 14,000 HP, stands next to Ruff long enough, his health will eventually surpass 16,000 HP. And just like that, myth busted. I wanted to test the theory that Tara's super can cancel Mandy's. As Tara, if I time my super right before Mandy launches her projectile, she should be stopped completely. And it's correct. She doesn't even get to fire it. Did you know Larry and Lori can become statues? Usually they have their mouths open and will do animations, but if you choose their true silver or gold skins, their mouth will actually stay closed the entire time. Myth confirmed. Gale's gadget, Twister, is supposed to be useful in close combat, wherever Edger jumps on you or something else. But can it stop Colette's super? Well, let's test it. I've got my gadget ready, and here comes Colette charging at me with her super. The moment she activates it, I drop the Twister and nothing happens, and she gets to damage me. This one's false. Can you stack kits on top of each other? First, my kit teammate jumps on me, then I jump on the enemy kit. Boom! We're actually riding on top of the enemy kit, creating a tower of 3 stacked kits. This myth is confirmed. I bet you think tanks should always be the gem carriers in gem grab. Well, that's actually not true. A lot of players assume that more health means a better chance to win, but what really matters is picking a long-range, versatile brawler. These brawlers can escape tricky situations and hold their ground when things get messy. So next time you're in gem grab, maybe leave the gems to someone who can run. Did you know you can accidentally KO your own teammate in Brawl Ball? If you use your super to pass the ball and it hits a teammate with low HP, it can actually cause damage and even finish them off. If you've maxed your account, don't fall into the trap of buying too many true gold and silver skins. Sure, they're a flex, but they're literally just expensive recolors of default skins. And the worst part, both of these skins will cost you roughly 35,000 coins, and as soon as you drop all of that gold, a new Brawl Talk drops, and suddenly there's a shiny new brawler you can't afford to upgrade. Luckily, I'm already in gold debt, so I can't even make this mistake. But speaking of skins, spending your gems on them is a horrible idea. Gems are super valuable for progressing your account, and washing them on skins can really hurt your progress. Instead, focus on using them for hypercharges, because it's a much smarter investment which will make you win more matches. I'd usually say to save them for the Brawl Pass, but Supercell removed that option. Thanks, Supercell! Showdown tournaments would be a massive upgrade to Brawl Stars. While there are official Brawl Stars tournaments that can get you nice rewards, some players got inspired by Rocket League's daily tournaments where players compete to get rewards. Honestly, if this was added to Brawl Stars, I might start playing Showdown again. Have you ever hit the play again button and noticed the thumbs up pin is always based on the default brawler skin? Some players suggested to Supercell that if you're using a legendary skin, it should swap to the thumbs up pin from that skin instead, which would make way more sense. This idea would make Supercell go broke. The suggestion was to replace gems with bling, so every in-game purchase that needed gems would use bling instead. Fame is arguably the most useless feature in all of Brawl Stars, and players avoid contributing to it like it's their sole mission in life. However, with this rework, players would be able to get skins for free. Every month at Global Tier, you would get a random super rare skin drop at At Lunar, you would get random epic or mythic skin, and with Solar, you'd get a legendary. If you love El Primo as much as I do, then never buy the Vision gear. It's probably the worst gear you could get for a tank brawler, and honestly, it's just a bad gear overall. Like, why would I need to see a bigger radius in bushes? Supercell had a big vision for the Vision gear. Can't get it? Brawl Stars players have a way to signal if you're a bad player. If a teammate came all the way to spawn to shoot you in 3v3, it probably means they're mad at you and want you to leave the match. How about you use your ammo on the enemies instead? Getting a new legendary skin is awesome, but there's an unwritten rule. You have to spin it around in the lobby. It is the best way to check out all the details, and honestly, it's just fun to do. Bonus points if you spin your friend's brawler too. If you're an OG player, you probably keep your controls unlocked. Back when the game launched, that was the only option, and a lot of players stuck with it to keep that classic Brawl Stars tradition. But some players argue that pro players use locked movement. If you just found $100 on the ground, hold up before you blow it all on gems. Gem packs are actually the worst deal you can get, and you should never spend on them. Instead, maybe wait for special offers in the shop, or honestly, just go get the Brawl Pass. I mean, I gotta clear my gem debt first anyways, so... Everyone strives to get legendary brawlers, but does that mean higher rarity equals stronger brawlers? While other games would follow that sense, Brawl Stars actually focus on getting unique gameplay with higher rarity brawlers. The only exceptions are new brawlers that come out, as they will be OP as usual. But speaking of rarities, back in the day we had a special rarity called Chromatic, and many players thought it was a better legendary since it was similar to some kind of rainbow rarity. But that's way far from reality. Chromatic rarity was essentially a special category where brawlers drop chance would increase over time, meaning ones from previous seasons were easier to unlock from chests. However, when they removed chromatic rarity, brawlers got different rarities assigned to them.
Your credit card has probably been pained by gem packs many times, but did you know packs actually used to have names? Back in the OG days, gem packs had cool names like Bag of Gems or Vault of Gems. Eventually, they switched it to just show the gem amounts. And here's the wild part. At one point, some packs even showed the wrong amounts, like the 2000 gems pack that said it only gave 1,850. Which one is it, Supercell? In the Angels vs Demons update, there's a hidden spike Easter egg. When you open the game mode menu, you'll see a contests option that looks like a book. However, when you do click on it, the book opens only showing the right page. But if you slide past the limit, you will catch a glimpse of the left side, and there's a little spike icon in the corner and some notes which say the end is near. Maybe this was foreshadowing Spike's revenge arc. But that's not as nearly crazy as the inspiration for Mortis's design. When players asked Supercell what he was based on, everyone expected something like Dracula or a classic vampire. But his real inspiration is actually the legendary WWE wrestler, The Undertaker. Unfortunately, Mortis isn't nearly as terrifying. Everyone loves Otis. He's one of those rare brawlers with zero haters. Well, almost zero. But did you know his little starfish buddy actually has a name? Yup, it's Syl. If you read the description of Otis's super, you'll see that he throws Syl to silence enemy attacks. Kinda funny, right? Syl does all of the hard work, but Otis still gets all the credit. Brace yourself because this might just be the best thing in Brawl Stars. If you grab the SpongeBob skin and flip it over, you will find, no, not the legendary claim 1 million gems button, but something even better. SpongeBob's butt. Honestly, when I saw it, it was like hitting the jackpot. Who needs infinite gems when you've got this masterpiece? Here's a wild theory that's actually kind of creepy. If you use the angry pin with one of the animal trio brawlers, like Nita, you'll notice the smoke isn't coming from their noses, it's coming from their animal hats. So does that mean these costumes are actually alive? Don't worry, I'll rescue you. Never mind.
Supercell completely forgot about this mistake. With the introduction of unlimited trophies for brawlers, players could rack up insane amount of trophies. However, Trophy Road is still capped at 70,000 trophies, leaving high tier players completely unrewarded. Some players have even hit 20,000 trophies with a single brawler. But guess what? The only reward they get from this is a super cheap water bill. Get it? Because they don't take showers? Another creative idea that Supercell rejected is a combo modifier. Inspired by Marvel's synergy system, it's supposed to be released after all the hypercharges were added to the game. So if two specific brawlers teamed up, they'd unlock a special passive ability. This modifier would encourage players to try brawlers they usually ignored for a better chance at winning, and the only requirement is to be silver 1 in ranked matches. Guess I can't participate. I bet you don't know how to control the gem spawn and gem grab properly. It may be tempting to just go all for the kills and gem gem grab, and sure, this strategy can even work if you have an aggressive team composition. However, it's very important to control the gem respawn in the middle of the map instead of overextending and putting yourself at risk by chasing endless kills. Blue's Ice Block gadget is absolutely unreal when used correctly. The Ice Block gadget makes you immune to damage for a few seconds, but a lot of Blue players only use it when they get really low on health, only to die as soon as it wears off. It's more effective to just use the gadget when either a ton of damage is coming your way or when you see an enemy about to use their super on you. That way you can get more value out of the gadget and also set yourself up to be able to fight once it runs out.
Lately, there's been a ton of videos claiming you can get a legendary star drop if you just click it the right way. So let's test that out. The theory says to tap the rare star drop on the right, then the epic on the left, then mythic at the bottom, and boom, it's legendary. However, don't get hyped because it's fake. In Brawl Stars, drops are purely based on luck and there are no shortcuts to it. Never believe these players, since it's just an easy way for them to get free views. To be honest, they literally deserve Edgar treatment. Are Jean and Kit the best duo showdown combo in the game? Well, it turns out Jean's super can pull enemies close and Kit's super lets them pounce right on top of the brawlers. So while Kit's busy in his attack animation, Jean can just pull the enemy right out of the fight and into the safe zone. Guess Kit and Jean really are the perfect duo in Brawl Stars.
Apparently, Willow can eliminate her own teammates, but is it true? To test it, I picked Willow and jumped into a match with two random homeless guys I found on the street, one on my team and the other on the enemy team. Now, let's charge your super and take control over the enemy brawler. Okay, now while I'm in control, I should be able to damage my teammate, and it's not working. So this myth is busted. You can go home, guys.
But Balootic, we have no.
Brawl Stars has so many hidden details, so I decided to check out BB's bat because there's a theory that her bat actually changes faces mid-animation. So if I open the brawler menu, let her idle for a bit, and there it is. Her bat goes from happy to angry. Myth confirmed. No wonder it feels so painful to get hit by it. Can a teleporter cancel Mandy's super? I picked Mandy, then headed to some community maps with teleporters and charged up her super. If I use it right before teleporting, boom, I get teleported. However, her super actually got canceled. This myth is false. Knocking back tiny bots in training grounds makes them lay on their side. Let's pick a brawler with knockback ability and head to the training grounds. Okay, now when I use the ability, they actually did lay on the side. So the myth is true. Imagine how awesome it would be if animation played for brawlers too. Everyone remembers when Supercell released the BB Thor skin, but it had an unexpected issue. Apparently, her super doesn't follow the trajectory you aim for. So I decided to test it out. Let's pick BB with her skin and give it a shot. I'll use her super, and yep, it didn't hit the target we aimed for. Looks like Supercell left us with this hilarious pay to lose feature. Upgrading brawlers in Brawl Stars is one of the most satisfying things to do, but it can be a double-edged sword. If you upgrade brawlers that are weak or don't fit your playstyle, it's only going to slow down your progress. Instead, focus on saving your resources to upgrade brawlers that are strong and suit how you play. If you want to go pro in Brawl Stars, staying on top of the current metas is a must. The game's always changing with updates every month, introducing buffs and nerfs to different brawlers. Each brawler has a chance to become weaker or stronger, and ignoring the meta will pretty much backstab you. So do yourself a favor and stay updated. Who knows, maybe one day we'll finally get a real Edgar nerf. Or better yet, he'll be removed altogether. Buying star powers and gadgets can totally change how strong your brawler is, but picking the wrong ones can make them so much worse. So before you spend all your hard-earned gold, check what the community says or watch a video to see them in action. You don't want to be that Griff running Coin Shower, which just adds one extra wave of coins. Seriously, who even uses that? When Buzz Lightyear joined the Brawl Stars as a limited time brawler, players loved the idea of temporary characters like him. Many suggested that every season should feature brawlers that are max level, fun to play, and easy to grind for seasonal trophies. Let's just hope we don't end up with Skibidi Toilet as the next limited time brawler. But speaking of new characters, there's an amazing concept by a player called Double Dash for a brawler named Harper. She's part of a Love Swamp trio and plays as a support. Her healing aura restores her teammates' health over time, while her attack, Strum, lets her strum her harp weapon. Her super is even cooler. She can activate a swampy aura that either heals or boosts his damage, and she can switch between the two. One of her gadgets, Swampy Savior, lets her grab the teammate with the lowest health, which is something we've never seen in Brawl Stars before. Double Dash even made a full list of her voice lines and pins. This is the most annoying mistake players can make in Duo Showdown. When you pick up a power cube, it gives one to both you and your teammate, but if your teammate gets taken out and is waiting to respawn, don't grab any cubes unless you're in a tight spot. If you do, your teammate will come back with 0 power cubes while you're sitting there with 10, basically making them useless. It's super annoying when you get caught playing Brawl Stars in class and now you have to leave the match. If that's you and you've entered a match with a random player or your friend, at least do everyone a favor. Close the app completely so the game replaces you with a bot. Have you ever bought a Brawl Pass? If you have, then changing your nickname font to chromatic is a must. Now, whenever you enter a match, your teammates will probably think, wow, this guy must be a pro player, and it'll give them a confidence boost. Supercell is definitely not beating pay to win allegations with this one. Everyone hates those players who just quit right after a match. If you're going to leave, drop a message in the chat to let your friends know, because disappearing just feels awkward. But hey, I don't have to worry about notifying anyone because I don't have any friends. A spinning player in a solo showdown means he wants to team up with you. So the next thing you must do is eliminate him. You know, spin around to gain his trust and then backstab him. We must eliminate teamers.
Apparently, if you use Hank's milky skin, you'll be able to hide your teammates. When you press and hold his attack, then hover the bubble over them, they'll actually become hidden. And now your teammates can effectively do a surprise jump on enemies. This is literally a pay to win skin. Can you dodge Crow's super without moving? When Crow swoops down with his super, just stay still and you'll absolutely take 0 damage. The reason behind this is that most players just auto aim his super, which makes Crow land right on your spot, unintentionally putting you in safe zone. After this fail, he probably retired to become a pigeon.
Some people say Max is inspired by the character Flash, but if that's true, can she run through dimensions? Well, players think that's possible with her gadget Sneaky Sneakers, which teleports her to her previous location. So if she uses it before being pulled into Cordelius's dimension and activates it for a second time, then her gadget would actually teleport her, but inside the Shadow Realm. Yep, no teleporting through dimensions for Max. Have you ever tried auto-aiming to find an enemy in a bush? Well, if you think this actually works, I hate to break it to you. It's just not true. All you're doing is firing into empty space. And that Edgar, he's not in the bush. He's actually hiding in your room.
But this next feature is so old, even OG players might not remember it. Crests were essentially passive abilities you could unlock by filling up groups of upgrades. The first group had 3 upgrades per stat, the second had 2, and the third just 1. Unlock all 3 crests, and another bar at the top would appear, giving you a special ability. However, there was an even older name for these abilities, and it was Nitro, which eventually evolved into the gears we know today.
When I play Brawl Stars, I always want to win the game as fast as possible. I want to kill the enemy now. But when you're playing a mode like Knockout, a bit of patience goes a long way. Very often, waiting for the smoke to appear before making your move to fight can assure you an easy victory. Or, if you're playing Brawl Ball, making sure that you get the ball into a good position can be more important than just rushing the enemy team right away. But personally, I don't have time for that. Get over here. In Siege, collecting those first screws is super important. That's why the best players always pick fast brawlers with dashers like Mortis to rush the first bolt at the start of the game. So, if you ever felt greedy for rushing towards the first bolt spawn in Siege, do not feel greedy. Remember, only 4 screws spawn in each round of Siege. So if you manage to just get 2, you've secured yourself at least half the screws of the round. Sometimes the boxes on certain maps get in the way of either yourself or your teammates. The solution? Break them down. Breaking down boxes in basically any mode can give your team a huge advantage if you have a lot of long-range brawlers or the enemy team has a lot of short-range brawlers. If you're making space for your team by intentionally breaking down boxes, you're definitely moving like a pro.
What happens if Willow uses her mind control on Nani while Nani's using her super? Well, as expected, Willow takes control and Nani just drops her remote. But what about the little exploding robot? It just vanishes into thin air. I guess that makes it the luckiest little decoy because it gets to live another day, unlike this Edgar. Can Frank's gadget counter Kit? If Kit tries to target Frank thinking he's an easy kill, he'll be in for a big surprise. Frank was basically built to counter Kit, and when Kit uses his super on Frank and stuns him, Frank's noise canceling gadget kicks in and instantly cancels the stun. Now Kit's still stuck in his super, making it way too easy for Frank to take him out. Kara knows how to play a game of cards because she's a literal hero, but does she actually have a full set? To test that, we're going to use her basic attack. If you look closely, her cards change every time she throws them, ranging from hearts to diamonds. But I think she could fancy a Joker card now that she's out of ammo.
Janet can be such a pain when she uses her super to escape right as you're about to finish her off. But can she actually escape Jean's pull with her super? Time to find out. I just need to pick Janet, make sure her super is charged, and let Jean use his pull. As soon as he does, activate, and nothing happens. There's supposedly a way to dodge overtime damage with Meg, so I had to try it out. I just need to grab Meg, bring in Amber to hit me with her fire-breathing attack, and as I'm burning. Now, if I just switch into Meg's robotic form, I should be fine, and the burn damage completely stops. This myth is 100% true, but while we're talking about upgrades, here's a tip. Don't waste your coins on the vision gear for close-range brawlers. Why? Well, it only reveals enemies in bushes for 2 seconds after you hit them, and if you're out of range, it's pretty much useless. Plus, with better options like this shield or health regen gears, which actually help you survive longer, vision gear feels like a wasted slot. Honestly, if you're that desperate to mess with bush campers, just pick Bo because he already sees 150% more in bushes with his circling eagle star power. We all know rough players struggle to share their buff supers. However, if you're the one playing rough with hypercharge and feeling a little selfish, avoid this. Most players use hypercharge, throw their super, and instantly grab the buff, but that's a big mistake. Instead, wait for your hypercharge to run out before picking up the buff. Why? Because it'll instantly refill your hypercharge bar, letting you infinitely cycle it, at least until your teammate swoops in and steals it. Everyone knows Amber has an ammo bar that drains as she attacks, but here's the trick. Don't bother manually aiming with her, because every time she fires a single flame projectile, her auto aim resets, meaning it's actually the most accurate auto aim in the entire game. So next time you're playing Amber, just hold that button and watch your enemies burn. This almost feels cruel. Sometimes players on your team deserve to get sent to the gulag. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but reporting players should be possible in every mode, not just ranked. If this was added, I'd probably report people non-stop and every single one of my teammates would end up banned. Brawl Stars fans might actually be better at designing skins than Supercell. Magician Grey is a fan-made skin concept by Buddha Dad, and it's absolutely incredible. The design perfectly matches Grey's theme and lore. Honestly, it's way better than any of his current skins. But for some reason, Supercell passed on it. Maybe they were just jealous because a fan outperformed them? Imagine spinning a wheel every day to get a free reward. Well, that was essentially the idea behind the Daily Lucky Wheel, a freebie system that would be way more fun than the usual freebies we get. Some players even suggested a version where you could spin to unlock brawlers, which I don't really think is needed, would be quite cool. Add the wheel, Supercell. Speaking of gadgets, there's actually a way to know when your teammates or enemies have their gadgets ready to be used. There's a little icon that appears at the bottom of every brawler if they have their gadgets ready. If it's missing, that means they have no gadgets available. It amazes me how many people still don't know about this. 99% of players don't know this crow trick. I haven't met that many crow mains in my life, but the ones I have met all tell me the same thing. Hit everyone with your attacks in the early game. Crow's attacks have anti-healing, and in the early game, hitting all 3 players with a shot can seriously disrupt the enemy team if they try to heal up. Prioritize this over just going for kills, and you'll find yourself getting way more wins. Players claim there's an Easter egg in Colette's book, so what's so special about it? If you tap on her in the brawler menu, then flip her around during her animation, you'll spot a little Spike sticker hanging out in her book. It's not exactly an experiment yet, but maybe Colette has some big experiment plans for Spike. If you're playing BB and run into Buzz, what would happen if you knock him out mid-super? Wait for Buzz to activate his super, then bait him in close. Once he's about to strike, hit him with a full bar swing, and voila! Buzz gets knocked right out of his super. Maybe it's time for him to upgrade that suit. Some players think playing Daryl is basically cheating, because you should be able to literally shoot through walls. Just pick Daryl, head into a match, stand near a wall, and use his recoiling rotator, and he'll deal damage to opponents hiding on the other side, even through unbreakable walls. Sure, it's not a ton of damage, unless your enemy has like 1 HP left. Everyone hates token doublers. They barely add any value and just end up wasting your precious star drop rewards. So some players suggested deleting them altogether. However, Supercell rejected this idea real quick. If Supercell got paid in token doublers, maybe they'd reconsider. This might be the wildest idea yet. Voice chat in Brawl Stars. Imagine hopping into a match, ready to chat with your teammates, or, you know, get blasted by someone's ear-splitting mic. Yeah, I'd say they've got a pretty solid reason for keeping this feature out of the game. There is no reason for draws to exist. Players have been begging Supercell to either make them harder to occur or remove them entirely. In other Supercell games like Clash Royale, after overtime, hitting a draw is practically impossible with a 0.01% chance of it happening. So why not make Brawl Stars the same? I'll tell you why. Because that would require the devs to use logic. Hank is Otis's friend. Then silence shouldn't work on Hank. Or does it? I got myself a friend that's going to play as Otis, and I'm going to play as Hank. Then I charge my attack, and Otis uses his silencing super. Wait, I can't use my attack. Okay, so what happened is that when I was silenced, my attack essentially got frozen, and the moment the effect got off, it finished the attack. So no, Hank cannot attack when silenced. However, I think Hank should still be nerfed. We know that Willow can take control over players, but what about pets like Bruce? Let's find out. So, I'll have my friend spawn Bruce, and then I'm going to launch my mind control ability, and the bear starts attacking my friend. What's even crazier is that I'm controlling him infinitely. This is actually a pretty good way to counter Nita mains.
Apparently there's a way to teleport your friends against their will. For this you'll need to use a random map maker map or make one yourself, then pick Colette, and when your friends approach you to attack you, use Colette's super but aim for the teleporter. This way you're effectively pushing them into the portal, sending them to Narnia against their will. Okay, it's not actually that far. Some pro players claim there's a trick to dodge enemy shots while still landing your own hits, and it actually works. But you'll need sharpshooters like Piper or Brock to pull it off. Here's how. Find a corner on the wall and position yourself just right. If done correctly, you'll notice their aim goes right through the corner, letting you hit enemies while staying safely behind cover. It's basically free damage without the risk, unless Edgar spawns behind your back.
If you've ever played seasonal games like Subway Surfers, you've probably seen the option to change the music to tracks from previous seasons. Well, I think Brawl Stars should have this feature too. With so many seasons and unique soundtracks, it would be amazing to relieve the vibe of older updates. Just what I've been missing. While some people wish for third-person Brawl Stars, other players beg for the PC and console version of the game. Just imagine playing with a joystick. Unstoppable, right? Supercell already somewhat did this for Clash Royale and Clash of Clans, making them available for PC. Of course, there are emulators which let you play Brawl Stars on PC, but some people say those have a high chance of getting you banned. And if you're hoping that they'll add this feature to Brawl Stars, don't get too excited, because this feature may never happen. And for good reason. Most players don't know what the best way to farm trophies is. While it's super common to push trophies on brawlers evenly, this is actually not the best method, because if you leave one brawler at low trophies, you can use them to get guaranteed wins and gain a win streak. Then start up a game on a brawler you actually want to push trophies with and race ahead with the win streak bonus. In Gem Grab, once you've collected your 10 gems and that timer starts ticking down, only one word goes through my head: run! Now obviously you want to get out of the way and run the clock down when you've collected enough gems, but sometimes backing off too quickly can be detrimental. 15 seconds is a lot longer than it sounds, and if you group in your spawn too quickly with your team, you may just surrender too much control and lose your advantage. Remember to keep a cool head and retreat as sensibly as possible. You may have pinched your friends before, but have you ever pinched in Brawl Stars? Lane pinching is a technique where two of your teammates focus the same brawler, not necessarily to kill them, but in order to take their space or lane and get a more advantageous fight. This technique is super difficult to pull off properly and can be devastating when done wrong, but if you pull it off perfectly, it can win you the game. Speaking of good decisions, there's another thing you need to consider when you're picking your brawler: the map and mode. Different modes and maps cater to different brawlers, and knowing what brawler to play separates pros from the average. And my random picked Edgar. Getting a triple kill with the super is one of the best feelings in Brawl Stars. However, pro players know that it's key to use your super at the perfect time, and sometimes this means saving them for the next fight or taking out the last line of defense in Brawl Ball. My losing streak is finally over. So apparently, if you're playing with a brawler that has under 500 trophies and lose, your next match will be against bots guaranteed. Alright, time to throw this match. On purpose, of course. And now I have to start another match I'll be playing against bots. And it's true. To be honest, I don't see that much of a difference because every player is like a bot to me. Byron is a healer, and as we know, many support brawlers have the ability to heal turrets and pets. So Byron should be able to do it too, right? Well,
Here we have Jesse's turret, and I'm about to use his healing on the turret. Unfortunately, it looks like he can't heal any turrets, so this myth is busted. Melody gets her surrounding notes by attacking players, but can you get them by attacking turrets? Okay, we're in a match with Melody, and I'm going to attack the first turret I see. There's Jesse's turret, and look at that! I refilled all of my notes. This myth is true. Mo is a little mouse that can go underground, but that should make him invincible to environmental traps. I found this testing map, and we're going to start first with spikes. Using his super, Mo can avoid damage from spikes, and that's not all. If he goes under slow pads or speed pads, he won't even be affected at all. Myth is confirmed. But speaking of Mo, he may actually be the worst nightmare for Sprout, because apparently he can go under Sprout's wall by using his super. So I'll have my friend use his super, then I'm going to go underground with Mo. And look at that! Mo was able to go under his wall. What happens if you use Jackie's rebuild gadget over BB's bubble? For this experiment, grab a friend, have them pick Jackie with the rebuild gadget, and then go into a match with BB. First, break some walls, then charge up her super and aim it right into the broken walls. Just as you release, have your friend use Jackie's rebuild gadget, and BAM! BB's bubbles get stuck bouncing up and down in the wall. This happened because BB uses jawliner gum. Here's a mind-blowing detail about robots in Brawl Stars. When most robot brawlers like Barley and Daryl use the crying pin, they actually cry oil. But if you use a crying pin with Surge, he sheds tears. That's because Surge isn't just any robot. He's powered by energy juice, not oil, which means he runs on electricity. Surge is literally an eco-friendly robot.
Did you know you can use Mastery credits as a sneaky way to buy newly released brawlers? Masterly rewards give you credits to unlock brawlers, but don't claim them right away. If you're not interested in the current choices, save those credits as a backup. When a new brawler drops, Supercell gives you about 14 days to unlock them earlier, no matter where you are on the Star Road. So after the brawler is released, just grab those saved credits and unlock them instantly. This is especially useful if you've already maxed out the Star Road and are stuck grinding fame, because to be honest, fame sucks. If you're bad with certain brawlers, here's a tip. Don't think about teaming. Teaming in solo showdown is one of the worst things you can do, and it ruins the experience for everyone. Plus, it's only a matter of time before other players start hating you and backstabbing you anyways. There's a reason duo showdown exists, so maybe try that instead and stop ruining everyone's day. If you want to maximize your progress in Brawl Stars, then make sure to never skip your daily quests. These are separate from weekly quests and give you an extra 400 XP for tasks that are super easy to complete. To put it into perspective, with a 28-day season, that's an extra 11,200 XP just waiting for you. Hypercharged skins are an awesome addition to the game, but let's be real. Some brawlers actually look better without their transformations. Which begs the question, what if we had a toggle to turn the hypercharge effect on or off? Kind of like this skin randomizer button. Honestly, this feature would make so much more sense for certain skins. I mean, have you seen Godzilla Buzz shooting lasers from his butt? That alone would make me turn this button on. What if you could exchange power points for other resources? For many players who've maxed out their favorite brawlers, or even all of them, power points have essentially become useless, especially after Supercell increased their drop rate. But this idea would enable you to trade power points for gold, bling, or even gems. However, let's be real. If you think gems could be free, yeah, keep dreaming.
This experiment is kinda wild, because I need to find out which brawler would be the most dangerous in real life. If you're a cat, then Hank's water attack is bad news for you. But let's be serious. If we had to pick the most dangerous, it's gotta be Brock. Just imagine a storm of rockets coming at you. You'd be done. Although, I wouldn't really want to face any of these guys. Except Barry. Come here, you fluffy unicorn. Ah!
As a member of a club, one thing you have to do when entering a game is check the club chat. Sometimes you'll find yourself in the middle of a cool conversation, but other times, yeah, it gets weird. I would actually brag about how I got a new legendary brawler in the chat, and I got kicked. Getting one shot by Shelly from the bush is probably the worst part of solo showdown. To avoid this, always check the bushes, because the moment you least expect it, there she is. Nah, for real though, maybe try having some skill and face me in a 1v1 next time. After unlocking a new brawler or skin, you have to take a screenshot. It's basically a rule. I've spammed my friends' group chat with so many of my achievements that they actually banned me from it. I won, but at what price? You probably remember the old theory of Colt's family. By looking at his hair, we could see similarities between him and Pam. And many players have just assumed Pam is Colt's mom. At the time, we didn't know much about it, and Brawl Stars didn't even think about making any lore. But later, it was confirmed that Pam is actually Jesse's mom, and the similarities here make way more sense. Now, does that also make Colt Jesse's brother? Turns out the answer is no, as in the lore, Colt doesn't have any family and is just a regular sheriff with 2 guns. Willow's mind control takes control over any brawler you unleash the attack on. This ability should in theory make you gain all buffs that brawler had before you attack, but this doesn't actually apply to all brawlers. For example, if you mind controlled Tara with her psychic enhancer gadget activated, you would probably encounter a weird bug where you would see through bushes but you couldn't see any enemies in them. If you're a normal person, then you've played Gus like twice in your life.
What you probably missed, however, is that Gus can actually shoot over water areas. His balloons, which are flying, can cross the water as well.
Believing in free legendary star drops would get you ultimately trolled. If you played with randoms or your friends, you should have encountered players with legend name tags. This was due to a trend back in the day where YouTubers posted a way to always get legendary star drops by typing legend in front of their name. After that, players had to pay gems to change their name since they wasted their free one on a troll. Back in the day, before we got Star Road, brawlers were possible to get by gaining a certain amount of trophies. However, while everyone knew that, most players thought the brawlers inside the trophy road reset every season. But this was totally wrong, as it was the same every single time. So much for originality. If you've been stuck as Shelly since the beginning of your Brawl Stars career, then you must have thought that all brawler supers were just enhanced main attacks. Well, actually, the truth is you have a super ability called being under a rock. 90% of brawlers have different supers, like for example, Hank, which has weaker ability than his normal attack. Too OP, nerf Hank.
Have you ever wondered how long it takes for Daryl to charge his super? Well, if you just stood there waiting for his super to fully charge, it would take a whole 30 seconds. And after all of that time, all you get to do is roll. Yay. Look at Edgar. Yeah, I know, gross. But if you look closely, he's got this little dead emoji on his shirt, and the name of that icon is actually called Bad Randoms. Pretty ironic. Also honorable mention, his main attack is called Fight Club. So maybe, just maybe, Edgar doesn't even exist and is part of Supercell's illusion. I bet you didn't know about the flashing upgrade indicator. In the brawler menu, if your brawler has enough power points, you'll see the upgrade icon light up. But if you've got enough gold too, it'll actually start to shine, showing you it's fully ready for an upgrade. Sometimes having the right drip in Brawl Stars can make players like you more. But if you ever wondered which skin started off the whole hype, it's gotta be Phoenix Crow. This was the first legendary skin to cost 300 gems and is basically Crow's ultimate form. However, that's still not enough drip. Supercell, we need an Among Us skin. Did you know that Squeak's explosions actually sound different depending on which team he's on? Here's how it sounds on the red team, and here is how it sounds on the blues team. Honestly, I would never have noticed this if someone hadn't pointed it out. Supercell's been trying to hide these sets the whole time. Well, not exactly, but there are a bunch of skins that match a theme perfectly and aren't officially grouped together. For example, there's beetles, zombies, and even food sets. So what's your favorite secret set?
Have you ever wanted to become a pro by simply pressing a button? Well, you can actually do that, sort of. You see, auto aim is always turned on automatically when you make a new Brawl Stars account, but when you switch it off and train your aim on your brawlers, you'll find yourself hitting way more shots and doing way more damage. Finally, I can get to rank 35. Everyone has a brawler they tried for the first time and fell totally in love with. But what most players don't do is learn everything there is to know about their new favorite brawler. While learning all the abilities and maps to use it on is good, you can take this to a step further by learning how they compare to other brawlers in the game and how to counter all of them, especially Edgar. How good are you at Showdown? Me personally, I only win every game. Not everyone can play Showdown and find themselves winning almost every single game, but the very best Brawl Stars players know they're good enough to win on their own in Showdown consistently, and they push trophies fastest in the entire community. But of course, that is hard, which is why I stick to pushing my trophies in modes like Brawl Ball with a team instead. Scoring in Brawl Ball is how you win the game, but that doesn't mean you should only focus on scoring as fast as possible. When you have the ball in the mode, you can't attack, and that means you're a sitting duck for enemies to kill you without any threat. Focus on gaining map control before you start going for goals, and punish enemies who are too eager on getting the ball through your spawn. Brawl Stars is all about teamwork, which is why just every pro player uses voice comms when they play their matches. Usually this will be on Discord, but some pros use TeamSpeak or other apps too, so that they can call targets, cooldowns, tactics, and so much more. I once even caught my friend using FaceTime for comms. Try this in your next game of Brawl Stars. Super stacking is something only the best of the best can do correctly in Brawl Stars. Super stacking is when you use a character like Mortis or Frank that can rapidly build up
supers and use them basically right after each other. If you're patient enough, you can get a super stack going that completely decimates the entire team practically by yourself. Is Gust actually a ghost? Well, nobody really knows, but one thing's clear. He's definitely got ghostly friends. He can even turn defeated brawlers into ghosts. But can he actually take out brawlers in one shot with them? If you somehow manage to stack all his ghosts in one spot, and then lure a high HP brawler like Frank to that position, and activate his Cookie Popper gadget, Gus can actually take Frank down in a single blow. Now that's a Halloween trick I'm keeping up my sleeve. Some players think Buster's super is unstoppable, but what happens if you introduce a jump pad? First, activate Buster's super, then hop into a jump pad. As soon as you're launched, his super actually gets cancelled mid-air. Suddenly, it's not as unstoppable as players thought. I guess you could call that a blockbuster, or a buster block. Have you ever wondered what the maximum number of gems you can collect in Gem Grab is? Well, it should be 25 gems according to calculations, and let's enter the game to bust this theory. So, I hopped into a match with a friend to see how many gems I could grab. After a few minutes of collecting, I hit the cap, 25 gems. And just like that, the game ended. Can RT's gadget damage Lily or Cordelia's inside the Shadow Realm? Everyone knows RT's gadget sticks to players and can be triggered from any distance. So, I stuck the gadget to Lily, let her enter the dimension, and then tried activating it, but nothing happens. It doesn't even let me press the button. So yeah, this myth is officially busted. Buster can deflect many attacks, but can he go against Gale's Twister? With Buster, all we have to do is activate his super over Gale's Twister, and Buster actually keeps walking unfazed until his super runs out, and then he gets damaged. This one's true. This is one of the most common mistakes players make. Missing your daily freebies. Not only are these a great way to rack up extra resources for your account, but you might also hit the jackpot and score a huge reward on any random day. So don't forget to check it regularly. And it's -5 gems. Woohoo. Have you ever been caught up by another player while using Leon's invisibility and thought they were cheating? Well, they're not. They just had their volume cranked up and could hear your footsteps even though you were invisible. So if you're playing with your sound off, it's basically like giving those players superpowers. Turn your volume up. Your team needs to know where to go. One of the biggest mistakes teams make is funneling. In other words, all grouping up in the same spot on the map. This makes your entire team as an easy target, especially for brawlers with AoE attacks. So next time you play, make sure everyone picks a lane, left, right, or middle, and stick to it. Did you know that even if your team funnels, they can still end up in bad matchups? If you're getting destroyed by a brawler that completely counters you, don't just stand there and take it. Talk to your teammate who can handle that enemy and swap lanes. And don't stop there. Keep switching positions throughout the match, because trust me, the other team is doing the exact same thing. You have to always stay 2 steps ahead. What if brawlers got a 3rd star power? It could completely change the way they're played. Adding a new ability would give players more strategies to try and maybe even encourage them to use brawlers they've never tried before. It could also drastically shift the meta, making matches way more unpredictable and exciting. However, let's just hope this idea doesn't make people want a second hypercharge, because that would be way too much. Look at this coffin dance Brock skin. Sure, it might not actually benefit the game whatsoever, but it looks super funny and would be used by everybody. Supercell has to add this. One of the most unique ideas out there is for Gray's custom gear called Hole-in-One. This gear would allow Gray's bullets to travel through his portals on the floor, allowing him to pull off some of the most tactical shots ever. Besides shooting your bullets through a portal, you could also pull enemies with this gadget. If you ask me, that would be absolutely terrifying. But speaking of gears, imagine if Fang got a gear called Other Shoe 2. This gear concept would let him shoot his other shoe after kicking. The second shoe wouldn't charge his super, but it would deal the same damage as the first. Honestly, this is just a distraction from what everyone wants to know though. Where does Fang keep getting shoes from? Playing solo showdown would be so boring without obstacles. Seriously, every time you pass those skulls, you just have to destroy them. There's this weird, unexplainable satisfaction to it. But watch out, and don't waste all of your ammo on them, or other players might swoop in and take you out. Never pick Mortis in Heist. Trust me. Mortis mains might be super skilled, but even the best pros know better than to choose him for this mode. And that is because he's a melee brawler. It's the same for BB. If you try to take down the safe with them, you'll get wrecked almost instantly. But there's an unwritten rule that's also a pro tip. If you have quests like dealing damage, pick mapmaker maps to actually complete them, because you don't gain or lose any trophies in these maps, so now you can just
just focus on speedrunning through that quest without any pressure. These skins show that you're a complete noob. Players that use Squad Buster Shelly are always bad players, and the same rule applies to Star Shelly. The thing is that these skins were available to get for free, so players didn't have to do any grind to get them at all. Star Shelly was also a skin from 2019, and to be honest with you, you would expect these players to do much better. However, most of the time, they can't even kill a bot. Sprays can be super annoying when you pull them from star drops, but I mean, hey, if you've got it, why not use it? And if you change your spray, you have to use it in your next match. Otherwise, legend says there's a jump scare waiting for you in the lobby. However, everyone knows Piper's gadget, Homemade Recipe, can be super useful. This gadget shoots literal homing bullets, so some Piper mains get cocky and believe you can actually find people hiding in bushes or invisible Leons. However, in reality, this isn't true and usually leaves you with Leon behind your back and a smashed phone. This is not a bull. But wait, how is that possible? It's because he is Leon. Some players would argue that this is not him, but if that was true, he wouldn't be able to go invisible. Ball doesn't require ammo to shoot, or at least it used to be like that in the OG days of Brawl Stars. Because of this, players assume nothing has changed, as the ball simply has no reason to take ammo. And while this makes perfect sense, Supercell apparently thinks balls get stuffed with bullets before being shot at any goal. They better not let Supercell host a soccer match in real life.
Tick was supposed to look completely different. In the Brawl Talk episode where he was first introduced, his eyes were pointed inward, and he looked a lot happier. But later on, Supercell decided to change him to the robotic look we all know today. Did you know that there's a One Piece reference in Brawl Stars? Yep, that is right, and it's the Man of War skin for Doug. This skin can be immediately recognized by One Piece fans simply because of his white mustache, which resembles the character Whitebeard. I'm just not sure why out of all the brawlers, they picked Doug for this skin.
Everyone hates Mortis. I can't even remember a game recently where I haven't died to a Mortis. The thing with Brawl Stars is that sometimes characters are too OP, like Rosa on release or Barley before they changed his super. But as you'll know, the best players always find a way to counter the best characters. So if the entire community is complaining about a character you're having no trouble with, pat yourself on the back. When you get a kill in Showdown, you may feel the need to celebrate, especially if you've just clutched on low health or killed a player with much more power than you. But if you feel like taking your toxic celebration a bit further and rubbing some extra salt in the wound, spam that thumbs down button too, and your opponents will be raging. Randoms make me rage all the time, but if Brawl Stars makes you lose your cool too much, that's a sign you're getting way too emotional. The best players in Brawl Stars know how to take a deep breath and not get tilted, so they can focus on winning the match at hand. I get it, that Shelly running around in Brawl Ball dying 1,000 times can get you angry, but just breathe. It's all gonna be okay. Never mind! Come here, you motherfucker! When I play Nita, I can never tell where that stupid bear is going. But did you know there's actually a way to check where the bear is with your gadget button? Well, sort of. Sometimes a pet might run away too far from you, but all you need to do is tap the gadget button to see if it's still alive.
When Kenji dropped, players couldn't wait to test his skills, and turns out he's pretty insane. Not only can he slice up sushi, but his super can actually hit brawlers through walls. And the best part is that he can even attack brawlers on water. No more water camping for Angelo. Speaking of Kenji, can he actually counter Cordelius? Well, if you're facing off with Cordelius, just wait for him to pull out his super. Right when he's about to trap you, use your super, and you'll dodge his attack and take him out. But if he gets you before you can react, yeah, it's over.
Let me tell you something! Let me tell you something! Everyone hates getting swarmed by Ash's turrets, so I wanted to test something out. Can Surge's super make you completely dodge their damage? I charge up Surge's super, wait for the rats to close in, and as soon as they're near me, I jump, and we took no damage. This actually works. Myth confirmed. Apparently, using Sprout's super after trapping a player will unstuck him, so I set up the perfect trap with Sprout's super, locking a player in. Now, I charged my super again and threw it on the side with free space, and the trapped player actually gets teleported out of the trap. This myth is definitely confirmed. Okay, this one's not even in the game, because apparently Brawl Stars has the most cringe ads. Now, Supercell is usually known for having decent ads, especially when it comes to Clash of Clans or other games. But there's a myth that Brawl Stars ads are super cringe, so let's check it out.
Which brawler has the ability to go invisible?
Edgar. What the fuck?
I bet you've been spawn camped before. Yeah, it's the worst. But instead of rushing in solo to fight the enemy team, here's a smarter move. Wait for your team to regroup before attacking, because if you trade kills with one of them, you'll respawn right there, but they have to cross the entire map to get back to you. So stick together and use the power of friendship. Not paying attention to this can make your brawler completely useless. In ranked matches, a random modifier gets applied to the game, and if you ignore it, you're in big trouble. For example, if the sick beats modifier is active and you pick a brawler that relies on stunning, you've basically sabotaged your whole team. On the flip side, modifiers like quick fire can make certain brawlers like Leon way more effective. So next time, check that modifier before you lock in your pick. Don't waste your bling on brawler pins or sprays. They're way too expensive for almost no payoff. Instead, you can snag a much cooler skin with animations or even profile icons for the same amount. Have you ever heard of Spotify Wrapped? It's a feature that shows your top songs and stats from the past year. Well, some fans think Brawl Stars should have something similar. Brawl Stars Wrapped. Imagine getting a full recap of your year with your most played brawler, total eliminations, season progress, and maybe even how many times you carried your team. Here's a creative new game mode, big game, but 3v3. Imagine this. There are two teams, each with their own big brawler boss, and the goal is to take down the enemy team's big brawler while protecting your own. The first team to win 2 rounds takes the match. Also, every round, a different player gets to the big brawler, switching up the strategy every time. I don't know. Something about Big Hank kinda scares me.